Okay. Well, it's the best part of waking up. It's a new daily in your cup. We got lucky. We picked up a looks like 750 gold one for doing something pretty easy. Black and red spells, easily done. Easy, easy, easy. Um, just double checking a couple things, making sure we look like we're set up right. I think we're all right. Let's see. Nothing here that we need to get done. So let's sneak a peek. Black or red spells. If we hop into our decks, take a look at what a black and red deck looks like. Um, we don't have a Rakdos deck. Very, very interesting. What if we did? What if we made a new one? We could do that real quick, maybe. What kind of black and red cards do we have in standard? Okay. We've got some toxic. We've got some removal, a little bit. Some proliferate. Some annoying rats. Some more removal. Some more removal. It's not surprising. Black is full of removal. So we could use all the removal on black side of things to delete some stuff and then maybe get a little bit of life with it as we go. Kind of a cool card. Bring it back, drop in an extra 2 poison on something, put that on a double swing, and it's whew, look at the art on that. I dig it. I dig it. So it still looks like our black has a toxic strength and a removal strength. Other than that, a couple tenacious underdogs is good, and the virus beetle is super annoying as a way to sort of control the opponent. You just keep taking out their worst card, but you're taking it out nonetheless. You can get somebody feeling pretty sorry for themselves by the end of it. And then let's go to red. And red has kind of wants nothing to do with toxic for the most part. There's not a single toxic red card that I know of. That there are cards that interact with toxic things pretty well. There's also some burn removal, and then some hasty creatures that pop in and out. Things that grow with spells. This could be good, especially if we're going to plan on using the removal quite a bit. I kind of dig that. And we did have a bunch of those forges too. Those would go really good with the Vran, right? Because what happens is this thing kills something after every turn. It sacrifices the horror creature that it creates. And so that sacrifice constantly happening over and over and over again. I've always wanted to use Twin Inferno with a removal spell as well. It could be fun. Alright, we're just loading up on removal spells, burn spells, hasty creatures that do well with spells. This is going to be a black-red spell deck, and we're looking for things that pump on spell, and we're looking for engines that gain us something greater than what we're casting for, as far as the rate of return that's on there. I don't think we're toxicking anybody over here. So stuff in the black that looks very interesting are these, Executioner Thrains get you some goodies on the way back in. I don't think the Drowning Ichor at sorcery speed is as good as the instant speed to destroy the creature. And I do like the Necrogen Communion for our electrostatic infantry, because he's right now we've got 1, 2, 3 creatures, maybe with a fourth coming. So considering, we're not saying he's in the deck, we're just considering what it looks like. Other things that we're going to do, we want to stay super low to the ground. A Death Toucher 1/1 missile can sometimes freeze a guy on the other side. Anoint with Affliction is really great if you're on the corrupted side of that card. Not that it's not good. Vat of Rebirth is kind of about taking things from the graveyard. I saw an Anvil deck that had some Vat of Rebirth in it that I'd like to build for us too. But as it stands, we've got too many cards as it is. So what are some of the things that are going to do the least for us? The Play with Fires are probably some of the least of our concerns. That gets involved in all of that. Magmatic Sprinter, as cool as it is with the Forge and pumping the Forge, isn't going to help us in the board presence piece. What I think we're thinking here is that, and Whispers of the Dross is less than ideal, simply because it just doesn't kill as much stuff as we'd like it to. Let's take a look at land. And we have some black-red land that is fast, so that's 2. And this one gains life. And this one, any of them take a life? No. No. Yeah, we don't have a ton of the land that we'd be looking for. These ones help draw cards. I guess I could throw a slow land into it. How much land do we have? We have 24 land with a 1.9 average. That feels excessive. I think we should consider another redder creature to our creature counts, kind of low. We do have a plan for that with the Necrogen Communion, right? But maybe we could drop our land count down by, that should put us around 18, right? And so that gives us 6 more cards that we can stick in this deck that'll affect the board. We do want to keep them very, very low. When I make a deck that's got this little land, we don't want to need more than 3 lands. And it is a little bit of a risk since things like Arabask's Forge and Squeeze 4 mana recovery cost are kind of part of the plan. Tell you what, we're going to go back up just there and make room for 4 extra cards. Those 4 cards would maybe serve us better in black as a removal spell, simply because we could do this too. We could turn our little attacks into really, really brutal attacks against the creatures. I don't hate that. This card also punches above its weight if you're in a corrupted area, just because it has a tendency to just be just keep bringing it back, just keep bringing it back. It's only that 1 extra mana to keep taking it out of the graveyard. This one also replaces itself when you use the blitz cost, and the blitz cost can be done from the grave. So I do think that Tenacious Underdog has kind of that same punch above its weight category. Let's do it. Tenacious Underdog, don't have to worry about the corruption piece, and we're able to do a lot with it. Should we... I got an idea. I know exactly what we should do. There is a Inquiry card. I thought we had at least 1 copy of it. That's going to get Reckless Impulse. There it is. What that's going to do is allow us to cast cards on, until the next turn, you get to look at the top 2 cards and cast them. And the gain on that is, you're getting the ability to draw. Since we're looking at such cheap stuff, we should be able to throw at least one of the cards down onto the table at that point, which is pretty good. So we're looking turn 1 Kamano, turn 2 Bilious Skull Dweller, turn 3 Necrogen Communion, and send him in for the strike. Then we switch gears completely, try to drop one of these 2 or this one onto the deck. This one's going to get bigger every time we cast a spell, a spell, a spell, 2 spells, a non-creature spell, a spell, and a non-creature spell. So lots of stuff to pump our electrostatic infantry. Little bit of protection built in on this guy, although he's going to come back pretty small, so he'll still be a pretty tasty target. We can take out their artifacts in 1 shot with this guy, and then we can do 3 damage to the face. We can turn Twinferno into making it into 6 damage in the face. The other nice thing about Twinferno is we might be able to use it on things like instant or sorcery spell, and this is an enchantment, so unfortunately we can't duplicate that. This is not also an enchantment, so these 2 are off. It's just looking at stuff like sorcery speeds here. I kind of like the idea of casting it with the Hexgold Slash. It may not be the best, since we forgot, it looks like, to put a lot of the removal that we were excited for in black into the deck. Instead, we went with the creatures of black, right? 1, 2, 3, and only 1 creature in red, and the spells of red. It's kind of an interesting scenario. Let's go back, though, and let's see if we can't find a removal spell or 2 stuck in here for black. Since that was kind of the point going in. I say we get rid of the Twinfernos. There's too many ways that just doesn't go in our direction. And we could drop 1 Kamano and 1 Forge. We're not going to need multiple Forges in this deck. And the toxic sub-theme that's happening right here isn't the name of the game. We really are an aggro deck, with the idea being that we're just going to make a really big trampler. Um, like this is our win con. This is our win con. This guy is just annoying as heck. So we'll take him. Let's call this one. What do we call this one? Rakdos. We're just going to call it Rakdos Infantry, since we have the electrostatic infantry built into it. Kind of on the lame name game. That's fine by me. Let's test the deck out. But we don't have as much time today, since we got a little bit of a later start. So we're just going right in to the standard play. So we have very little land. So it means that we really got to watch like opening hands to make sure that we've got at least the ability to get to 2 mana off the go. And it looks like we drew 3 and 2 of them are slow, but they're there and everything's black, so we should be fine here. We're gonna put our Skull Dweller out. The name of the game here is Be Annoying as Heck. Oh good, we're up against mono red. That means first. Nothing to cast, nothing to go against. If I throw this out, later I can use the instant spell, which is good, or the enchantment. I think we'll just do this, toss the enchantment onto this guy, make him super annoying. You are at 3 poison. You got corrupted on turn 2. Ooh, that sucks. He'll bring a guy out. The guy will pick up the extra +1, right? Which is a Phoenix chick. But he's got to be thinking, I just got hit for 6, essentially, on the health. This guy can't block. So 2 is better than none, but you're hitting for 3 and I'm hitting for 6. That's not cool. And this can happen. Which just makes, like, your plan to be mono red not so great, right? Because now you're going to be dead. Come on at me with your hastiness. Pretty fast way to put some poison on there. This is like one of the best cards in the game that people just don't use. I never see it used, and every time I use it against other people. On my other account, I saw a white and black toxic deck where he really used the Necrogen Communion, and I got to thinking like the main deliverer, right? The main creature that he was dropping them on were the dual strike guys that come into effect. Get your damage on, buddy. Go for it. You can't help it. You're mono red. You just see that damage and you say, I gotta go for it. I gotta get it. Get it. Yeah. So watch this. I was thinking that there. Click next. We'll all attack and he'll block because he can't take that damage. And it's okay, because his guy is gone. My guy comes back though. Does he not? When an enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Is there something about this creature? If a creature damaged by this turn, a source of control would exile it instead. How good is that? Well, you learn something new every day. Get out of here, dude. There you go. Need a creature. Anyway, the point was, green-white has largely been considered the best deck because it has some of the toxic guys that are up there near the top. And unfortunately, I was looking at it thinking, I kind of like the black-white combo. What if we made a 3-color? Everybody's in the 1-2 category. Oh my god! What? We have 20 lands in this deck, and it's probably time to go down. We have too many lands! This is nuts! So we're going to lose. And that's okay. We're testing the deck out. I think it worked out pretty good in the beginning. We didn't understand the exile effect that was tapped onto the back of the Etching of Kamano. That really changed the name of the game. We would have had a free damage delivery system at that point. So that's the way the cookie crumbles against mono red. Sometimes they just get you. That's okay. We're going to try it again. I do like the deck so far. I do think though we need to get that land down. Do you see how fast we flooded? I don't think I've seen a flood like that since I lived in Texas. Okay, coming down 2 slots to 18, coming up 2 slots to, well, interestingly enough, I think we've maxed out our copies of almost everything except those 2. So that's what it's going to look like. Is this a braid the right card? What if it was something else? What if it was, because a braid does 3 damage or it takes out an artifact. And there are some like use cases for that. Maybe we knock it down 2 or 3 copies of that. Let's go back to our 1 mana hasty creatures as a way to just keep our, well, the Axiom Engraver could buy us a little bit of time too. Play with Fire can do a little bit of damage. He kind of comes and goes. He doesn't really give us the board presence we're looking for. And we don't have Phoenix Chicks. And we don't have... I'm looking for something to catch the trigger on the Kamano. On its way to... I got it. I got it. We're going to use the flyer. The Toxic Bilious Skull Dweller, Pestilent Siphoner. We took out a little bit of burn. We put in a little bit of toxic. And the reason for that, maybe we did this a little too much. I tell you what. Tenacious Underdog coming back, though, seems like a good plan. I don't want to get too far away from our spell count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, and then 15. Right? I'll take it. Let's try that. We're going back in. Okay, so a little bit less chance of flooding. A little bit more chance of getting a creature or a body on the deck. That should allow things like the Necrogen Communion to do better. I do think that like a card draw situation here is an important piece.